guys, my name is Alyssa from Alyssa's Bake Shop. Today I'm going to share with you 10 things I wish I knew before I started my home baking business. I actually wrote a list down so that I don't forget anything. First tip that I have is to make sure you know your state's cottage laws. If you've never heard of cottage laws before, then you should probably look them up because that is what enables us to bake and sell out of our homes in a legal and safe way. Every state is going to be different, and the way that I found my cottage laws was to literally write my state's name, cottage laws into Google, and then it just pulled up something right away. The second tip that I have for you is that your branding doesn't have to be 100% perfect. And what I mean by that is that although you can make your logo and your name and those types of things, you don't have to sit there and get everything to be the exact same aesthetic. I actually went to school to get a marketing degree, and I know how much they talk to us about branding, and I think that it is important, but when you first start out for your baking business, mostly you're probably going to be getting orders because of word of mouth. So a lot of people might not even be looking at your social media. I'm not saying to not brand, because it's more something that you should do as you go. And because I'm a perfectionist, when I first started out, I would just try to make all of my pictures have the same colors and aesthetic and things like that. And really it took up so much of my time when I could have been doing other things. A lot of times I think that people, they get really stuck because they want something to be 100% perfect before they put it out there. But trust me, you're going to be learning on this journey as you go, so you might as well just start and put everything, put it out there now. That tip really leads me into my next tip, and that is that social media and word of mouth, they both have different functions. And when I first started, I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to put everything on social media, and that's how people are gonna find me. But really, what started me out to be successful is word of mouth. So don't underestimate how powerful word of mouth is. And how I would do that is, I already loved to bake beforehand, and I was doing it for free. I would bring cakes and cookies and things to my family's parties, to my friends' parties. Sometimes it was unsolicited and I would just show up with a cake, but that was how it started. Someone then asked me if they could make a cake for their event and for their party, and because they wanted it to be specific and custom, I decided, you know what, I could make some money off of this. And then that friend told another friend, and then that friend wound up telling a stranger, and that's how it just kind of goes naturally. The next tip I have is that you should try to stay organized from the start. When you're first starting, it can be a bit overwhelming, especially depending on how many orders you're actually getting. If you are starting off and you're doing like 2 or 3 orders a week, even 1 order a week, you still have to organize it so that you know when they're gonna pick it up. When did they pay you yet? Did you get all your ingredients yet? I think it's really important to keep those records right away from the start, because all of that stuff matters. If you're trying to run a business, you have to have some level of organization, whether that's by using Excel spreadsheets, Google Docs, or using some type of QuickBooks, or just any type of app when you first start. I think that it's really important to be able to just get into a good habit. Do you guys like my sweater? So cute. Okay, that's random, sorry. The next tip that I have is to know how much space that you can have for your inventory. Since we're running these businesses out of our home, we may be limited in our space, especially if you are living with other people. You have to be respectful that they live there too. And the thing with the baking business is, even though it might seem like you're just doing 1 or 2 products, all those extra things that you need can take over your house. And trust me, this is where a lot of arguments can come from, just because it's a house and people are trying to live there. So you have to be able to dedicate a space that is going to work for you. The next tip that I have is to be direct. I feel like this is going to help you seem the most professional from the very beginning. Be straightforward and honest in every single aspect of your business. What I started doing was, when someone would text me, I would have a generic text all saved and ready to go, and it would say something like, thanks for contacting me, here's my menu, here's what I offer, my prices, right now I'm pickup only, etc. And if all of this sounds great to you, then let me know. What you do is you're very upfront and honest about what services you provide. Then it becomes up to the customer to decide if they want to go with you or not. And no matter what they decide, it's okay. And another thing that I mean when being direct is, let's say someone sent you an inspiration picture of that unicorn, right? Let's say the colors on the unicorn are pink and blue and yellow, okay? Now, instead of just copying the picture, I realized, you know what, I'm gonna ask the customer, okay, thanks for the picture. Do you want those exact same colors, or did you want to have different colors? It's gonna help both you and the customer so that your vision will come to life. The next tip is, you are probably underpricing yourself. Pricing is a huge thing for small business bakeries because we are, when we start out, I feel we don't have the confidence to put out the price that we're really worth. And it's definitely a learning experience. I mean, this topic could be a whole nother video. Pricing is really uncomfortable sometimes, especially talking to people about money and charging them. I know it can be an uncomfortable thing, but it's something that you gotta learn and you gotta get comfortable with, because if someone says, your prices are too high for me, the hardest thing is to not take it personally, because this is our business, this is our life, so of course it's a personal thing, but it is a business, and business, there are times where you really have to think logically, and you can't take that personally. You will change your prices as you go. That's just what's gonna happen. Everyone has a different idea of what a cake should cost, and there are customers who will pay what it's worth, but if you get the customers that are like, well, I'm just gonna buy the $20, $30 cake at the grocery store, then that's okay. Let them go. Move on to the next customer who is ready to pay you for your work. The sun is kind of coming out here. So the next tip is, it's very common sense, but always fulfill your orders. Always fulfill your orders, okay? I have always fulfilled an order. I'm just gonna be honest. But I do know people in person who actually have not completed an order on time. If you made 12 cupcakes and one fell on the ground, well, you have to make more. Like, there is no getting around it. That is why I always say to make extras. Even if it's 1 or 2 extras, you never know. Because let's say a cupcake fell on the ground and it is 10 minutes before the customer is gonna come. Well, then it might not be possible to give them the whole 12 cupcakes. But that's why I have learned, just to save your own time, to save your sleep, to save your peace of mind, instead of having to bake more at 3 in the morning because you kind of screwed up an order, just always be prepared and make extras when it comes to things, because you want to fulfill that order no matter what. And that naturally brings me to my next tip, which is to only take on what you can handle. So when you first start and you're running a business, you're probably going to be overwhelmed. You definitely want to take on just as much as you know you can handle. The best way to do that would, honestly, if you're starting from the beginning, take on 1 order a week, okay? Then as you grow, take on 2, 3, 4. Now, there's a lot of factors in that. Personally, I work a full-time job, and because of that, baking for custom orders is more of a part-time thing for me. I cannot do both my full-time job, take care of other personal matters, and run a baking business full-time. It's just too much for me. And there was a point when I was doing that and I realized, you know what, I can't do that. I have to take on limited orders. So you have to find something that's gonna work for you in order not to get burnt out. This brings me to my last and final tip, which is, don't be afraid of trying new skills. Just always be ready to learn. That is the best part about baking, in my opinion, is that there's always new trends. There's always new things to learn, things, tools to buy, things that we can explore, and to just stay curious about things. But a lot of times customers are going to be asking you for a cake, and you might need to learn a skill that you've never done before. So you have to be adaptable, and you have to be ready to just go in with confidence, practice if you can, if you have enough time and you have the ingredients, practice before, and just really set yourself up for success by believing in yourself inside. That is all the tips that I have for you guys. I hope that this video was helpful. If you have any other questions or want to see any other videos from me, please leave it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.